Hey guys, so I'm going to talk to you about depression today, and I just got off a call with a new client. I just had a lady book in with me. I do these calls with people who want to sort of get an understanding of what I'm about and see if I can help them and if we're fit, and it's a health assessment. And I just had a call with this lady, and she was like, I want to get off my antidepressants, and I'm trying to these things, but I just feel like I still can't do it and I need help. And it actually is a good conversation, and this is what has inspired this talk, because I want to share with you what I shared with her, because I think it's really powerful. And one of the things is we've got to look at it from a very, the way I look at it is it from a very holistic perspective, which is shifting the perspective that we've been looking at it from, because taking a medication is expecting that medication to fix the problem. It's really only a short-term solution, and it has its place at times. I think it is massively overprescribed, because doctors and mainstream medicine, in their defense, don't have the tools in their tool belt to deal with this issue except for give medication. So Australia, there's a stat that I saw, Australia is the second highest rate of prescribed anti-prescriptions per capita, and it's increasing something like 25% every year. And so when we're looking at depression, when we're looking at anything like, depression, anxiety, anything mental health related, we've really got to shift from that paradigm of looking at things from just a one-eyed view with narrow lenses, and we've got to start to go, okay, what's everything in this situation that is going to affect this, and what are the different facets of this that we need to work on. And so when we're talking about getting off antidepressants, we've got to build a foundation to get you to the point where you can get it off it, and it's not going to be this massive withdrawal process, or you're going to feel horrific and go back into this deep, big, dark hole that you were in. Okay? And so when I'm talking to my clients, and the way that I'm looking at things is, it's got to be, and that's terrible because there's light reflecting. I don't really know how to fix that. We've got to look at things from a multifaceted point of view, a holistic point of view. Isn't that funny? I'm a holistic nutritionist. Who would have thought? Okay? And so the way that I look at health, and the way that I look at mental health and any type of condition, but in this case we're talking about mental health, is we've got the physical. So the physical symptoms that are manifesting in the body, the way that we're moving and operating the world, the actual 3D structure of our body, like the physical symptoms, the way that we're moving the body, our body, what we're exposed to, our environment, okay? That's all physical, okay? Then we've got the biochemical, so the processes and the biochemical processes that we are having in our body. The amount of serotonin, the neurotransmitters we release. We eat our food, we break our food down, we absorb vitamins and minerals, fats, proteins, carbohydrates, gets broken down for energy, and all of these create these biochemical processes, and there's all these reactions that happen in the body to make our hormones, to make our neurotransmitters, for particular actions to happen in our body. That is the biochemical. So when we're talking about that, we're like, what are all the factors that are going to affect that? And then we're also looking at the emotional, the mental, and the spiritual. And I put all of those into one. And when we're looking at it, we're going, okay, we've got the physical symptoms. These are the byproduct of this, and this is showing up as physical symptoms. Or what are the physical symptoms, and how is that being caused by the biochemical and the emotional? And so when we're talking about biochemistry, I'm talking about the way that our gut is, which is physical and biochemical, and how are we absorbing nutrients, what deficiencies they have, what is the state of the gut, and how is that having an impact on the way that we make our neurotransmitters. Now, to give you some idea, most of our body, 70% of our serotonin is made in the gut. So if the gut's not working properly, we're not going to be making serotonin. And then we have the emotional, spiritual, which is basically what is my nervous system doing, how I think and feel about myself and my response to my world, and the way that I feel about myself, and what emotions am I holding onto that's showing up as physical symptoms, because I don't have the ability, or I don't have the tools to be able to process them and let them leave the body. And then that has a knock-on effect to the way that my nervous system is functioning, and then the way I go about in the world, and it comes out as physical symptoms, depression and anxiety, feelings that are stored in the body that need to come out. And it's a physical symptom of emotions in the body, okay? And as well as this imbalance that can happen. It's not just one, it's both, yeah? And so when we're looking at it, we're going, okay, well, first of all, when we're talking about depression or anxiety, if we've been put on antidepressants, there probably has been a point where we feel like we've really needed that. And I said this to the lady I was talking to. I was like, you know what, it's served its purpose because it's gotten you back stable. And there is that point where it is needed. Sometimes, not always. And she's like, yeah, I totally agree. And I was like, now we've got to rebuild, and now we've got to reform and start to go, okay, what healing needs to be done? What deficiencies are there for us to rebuild the foundation? And how are we going to start to regulate our nervous system so that we can start to not have to rely on a medication to do it for us, we can do it ourselves, yeah? And so the things that can drive depression and anxiety from a biochemical point of view and emotional point of view, they're connected. Back to this, is poor gut microbiome, so which equals inflammation. If we have inflammation in the gut, we have inflammation in the brain, and the two are connected. The way that our gut, we've got this little ecosystem in our gut, and the way that our gut communicates to the brain is via the vagus nerve, and this sends neurotransmitters through the vagus nerve to get to the brain. And so those little microbiomes, all those microbes in our gut, which outnumber us 10 to 1 at least, if not more, is how we make a lot of our neurotransmitters. And so if this little ecosystem is not balanced, it's not going to, there's going to then be inflammation in the body. And if there's inflammation in the gut, there is then inflammation in the brain. There is this condition that I like to call, and I'm going to draw it up here, which is called leaky gut, right? And we've got these cells in our small intestine, and what happens is when we have leaky gut, they're little junctions, and they open, close, open, close. I've done a whole training on this too, by the way, in this group. If you want to go deeper into this, you can go find the training, or type in the comments, can you please direct me to the training, and I will link it to, send it to you. So open, close, open, close, open, close. They're designed to do it, but they're designed to not open hugely and not stay open. And so they've got to be tight, and they're designed to let food through. When this is not working, it basically opens too much, and we don't digest our food properly. And then what happens is we have things, just say that's that. It's more like this, and there's bigger holes, and then we have undigested food particles, bacteria, viruses, things like that. Usually there will then be deficiencies going on as well, because this needs things like zinc and vitamin A to function properly. We need lots of fiber, we need good bacteria, like all of this stuff. So this then goes into the bloodstream, and it spikes an immune response. And there's inflammation, and this is how long-term, ongoing chronic inflammation happens. If there is any type of mental health issue, there is going to be on some level some sort of inflammation. And people know this because it only takes 3 days to change start to change the microbiome, for the good or for the worse. And if you've had a few days where you've been eating and drinking crappy and you normally eat well, you can notice the difference. I know I do. And so are you eating and drinking as your microbiome needs, or is it having an impact? And is this long-term low-grade inflammation that's happening in the body that then is causing inflammation in the brain? This also comes down to, when we're talking about inflammation, blood sugar levels. Elevated blood sugar levels will cause inflammation in the brain, particularly. And then we have nutritional deficiencies. So what are we deficient in? How's that impacting inflammation? How's that impacting energy? How's that impacting the way that our gut is formed? Back to this, which is also causing deficiency in our nervous system. So magnesium, for example, we need magnesium for the neurotransmitters to communicate to each other. We need different B vitamins. We need zinc. Like, there's lots of different nutrients, vitamins and minerals that we need for everything to be humming along and all the processes to work. A lot of those vitamins and minerals are needed for so many different processes. And so if we're deficient, the body will prioritize the really essential shit, basically, for you to survive. And the other stuff sort of gets missed. B12 is a big one. A lot of people are low in B12. Vitamin D for immune function. You know, if our immune system is dysfunctional, there will be inflammation. So see how it all works together. I can go on about this, but I just want you to get the basics right. Poor gut equals inflammation, nutritional deficiencies, and a dysfunctional nervous system, which comes from nutritional deficiencies, inflammation, and the way that we manage our stress, as well as past trauma, past wounds, ways that the meanings that we give things, and the way we feel about ourselves, so our own self-worth. Because if something happens and we get emotionally triggered, if we don't have the processes to regulate that, or we don't have good self-worth, we will go into this place of go back to being an 8-year-old, and we regress, and we're acting from that fight or flight mode, survival. And basically, when I'm talking about a dysfunctional nervous system, I'm talking about I don't feel safe in my own body, and we regress. And I've done sessions with people around this, and I'm like, okay, I had one last night, and I was like, her go-to is to retreat and to dissociate from the situation, because as a kid, that's how she managed and that's how she survived. And I was like, okay, well, let's give you some acknowledgement. Let's give that part of you some acknowledgement, first of all, for freaking working out the best way to survive, because our human brain is very smart. But that is not serving right now. So when you're in a social situation, or when you're in a situation with your partner and you feel unsafe or unseen or unheard, you go into being retracted and retreated, and it does not serve. And that does not, you then have this stress response, but your stress response is to go into a cave, and that does not work. And so I'm working with her to work through these past traumas and connect to herself, so that she can give herself what she needs, so that she feels safe in her own body. So her whole nervous system goes, okay, I'm not going to die, I'm safe. I'm safe in this moment, because from a biological nervous system function point of view, we're still in fight or flight, which is like, I'm going to be eaten, and we have cortisol levels, cortisol pumping through our veins. I'm going to be eaten by a tiger or a bear, and I'm not safe. And so I'm not immune to this. There's plenty of moments I've had, particularly this week, where I'm like, oh my God, I don't feel safe in my own body. But I've got the tools now to be able to regulate myself and really bring myself back quite quickly. But also having processes to learn to feel your own feelings, so they don't get stuck in your body. Because what happens is, when we suppress things and we push them aside, and we don't let them to come up and have processes to really feel them, that's how depression and anxiety can also form, and it will then manifest as anxiety or depression or some other type of symptom. It could be a neurological symptom or a digestive symptom, because it gets stored and locked in the cells. And then this goes into the whole world of epigenetics, where it is not just, it's our environment. And this is Bruce Lipton's work, where he talked about It's the environment that activates the gene expression. It's the environment that activates inflammation in the body through all of this, as well as our beliefs systems, that can activate certain genes to be switched on or switched off. And so it then comes down to how this is being balanced will predict how genes are being switched on and switched off, and are they ones that are going down a path that is not beneficial and is self-destructing, literally, like cancer cells and oncogenes and things like that. So to allow cancer to not be killed off and get to that point where there is something in the body, or Alzheimer's disease is inflammation, like going further down that chronic disease path. And so when I'm going, okay, back to the antidepressants, we've got to look at it from this multifaceted point of view and go, are all of these solid and firm, and are they all being addressed? And have we got a support network around us to support us in these aspects? What testing needs to be done? What other people do we need to bring in as well, not just me? What other healing modalities do we need to allow this to be able to start to be balanced? Okay, unless this is balanced and this is humming, coming off the antidepressants is going to be really hard. You need the support. And so from the biochemical point of view, here's the questions. Am I eating eating to heal and nourish my gut? Am I eating to cause inflammation? And have I got inflammation in the body? What's my nutrient status? Have I had testing done? Is my thyroid working properly? All of that is connected to the gut and brain connection, and the way that we make serotonin, dopamine, all those feel-good neurotransmitters. And how is my nervous system firing? How does my nervous system feel? Do I feel safe in my own body? All of these are going to affect my biochemistry. The physical, what's my environment like? What things am I exposed to? What am I putting in my mouth? Or how am I moving my body? What environment am I exposed to that can also be causing inflammation? What's the actual physical? What are my physical symptoms? And then the emotional is how I feel. What do I think and feel about myself? And goes also back to the nervous system. What is my state of my nervous system? What's the beliefs I have around myself? What wounds and traumas do I have to heal in order to be able to feel more centered in myself and feel safe in my own body? Because if you've got these wounds, it's like a scab. Think of like if you've fallen over and you've got a scab and someone brushes past it and actually really hurts. It's like that. And so you bump it, or you've brushed it, or and it's like and all your hairs will stand up and it really hurt. This is what's happening all the time. And so we've got to go, okay, we really want to allow these to heal so that we can then have a nervous system that's not in a heightened state of alarm. And what tools have I got on my day-to-day basis to keep myself regulated, to connect to myself, to create something greater for myself, so I've got more meaning and purpose in my life, which also comes back to this. It's like, okay, what meaning and purpose? Oh my gosh, that's another topic for another conversation. So we've got to work on all these aspects. And so if you've got to come off the medication, you've got to work on all of these simultaneously to be able to go, okay, now I'm feeling in a really good space where I can start to work with my health practitioner and probably my GP to come off these medications, depending on how long I've been on them. By the way, they're not really meant to be on, they're not the sort of thing that people should be on, in my opinion, for years and years and years. And this is where things get missed, because it's not addressing the underlying cause. It can serve, like I said, and it has a purpose in some cases, and sometimes it can be needed. But then how do we get ourselves out of it? If it gets us back to ground zero, then how do we rebuild? And how do we create that really good foundation? And so that we can be strong and true in ourselves and feel good and feel feel alive, not just being surviving and trying to get through the day, like feel like you've got purpose and meaning. And so this comes down to having a team around you of people to support you in this journey, not trying to do it on your own, because it can be really hard. Having people that have been through what you've been through, having people who have walked the journey, the path before you and have been through it, or have been through some sort of similar sort of experiences and have things that they can help you heal with. You know, like you look at people who are doing really well at things or have gone through adversity, and they never did it on their own. They never tried to do it on your own. So whether it's like you go down the route of a psychotherapist, and someone like a nutritionist and someone as a doctor, you need all different ways, not one or the other. But finding someone who's walked it before you can give you what you need, but also help you step up and play at a higher level, make you accountable, because all of these things are really important. Like, you don't playing the victim as well. You need someone that's going to allow you to feel seen and heard, but also call you out on your bullshit. And I've had people like this in my life, and sometimes it can sting, but they've also helped me step up to another greater version of myself. And so if you are working with someone, this is a point to just make out, whether it be a psychotherapist or a health practitioner, any other health practitioner. It's like a coach, a business coach, whatever in your life. What are you doing in your life to help you grow and step up? Are you getting mentoring? Because if that person's not getting mentoring, I would also say that they're not then playing at another higher level, and that's not ideal. I would want to know about people that I personally work with. Is like, what are you doing to grow yourself so that you're growing, so I'm also growing too? That's I digress a bit. But we've got to look at all three parts. I do this with every area, but in terms of coming off the antidepressants, you've got to work on that foundation and get that foundation right before you come off. And if you can reduce the inflammation and regulate your nervous system and get into a habit where you're really eating amazing food and your gut's working really well, and you haven't got any deficiencies, and you're moving your body, then you're in a place where you can go, yeah, okay, I can now start to reduce the medication and slowly come off it, so that there isn't this serotonin drop because you're making enough in your gut. If you've got any questions, please comment below, or just send me a direct message, and I will see you all soon. Have a lovely day.